Homage to the Venerable Monk Liao Ming, to Master Sakya Tsongkhong, homage to the 16th Dharma King Karmapa, and homage to Master Dukten Tarje. Homage to the three jewels of the altar, and to the main deity of the group practice, Guru Padmasambhava Pasang Samaya Guru Rinpoche. Sumo, all Vajra masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, temple directors, disciples present here and over the internet. And our special guest today is the wife of the Secretary General Liao from the Coordination Council of North America, Dharma Sister Judy. And the accountant to the True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Teresa. And the attorney advisor to the True Buddha Foundation, Dharma Sister Jennifer Zhou, Dr. Zhuang, everyone, good evening. How do you do? In Cantonese. Thank you. In Cantonese. So this evening we practice Guru Padmasambhava in this group cultivation practice. And Guru Padmasambhava was the first who brought Tantric Buddhism into Tibet. Whether you're from the Nyingmapa or the Gelugpa or the Sakyapa, Kagyupa or Sakyapa, the four major schools revere him, highly revere Guru Padmasambhava. And he transmitted innumerable Dharma, and the biggest one of all is the great perfection or great completion Dharma. So we don't need to introduce Guru Padmasambhava. We've talked about him too many times. And the mantra is like this. That's the mantra. I added the two dakinis, or the two consorts of Guru Padmasambhava. The two major consorts that's in the Tanka, which is Ishichoga and Mandarawa, the primary consorts of Guru Padmasambhava. By reciting the mantra this way, Guru Padmasambhava would be pleased. So, did I mention Sumu? Yes. So, although Sumu is not here, but her spirit is always here. Primarily because her family doctor told her that she is exhausted. So asked her to take some rest. So don't be surprised, like when every time you only see Grandmaster without Simu, like last time to Guam, and then all of a sudden the rumors spread And at the gift shops at the Taiwan Lizang Temple, the rumor was like this. But that's not the case. Everything is at peace and in harmony, so please don't misunderstand. And she often said that last night the 2 grandkids stayed overnight at our home. They slept with the grandpa and grandma. So she's taking care of the grandson and granddaughter. So she's taking care of them. And in the future, she would stay home more to take care of the family. And her presence at the group practice and Homa would be less. But she will still come. She's just working less because her faxes and the text messages and emails are too many. And most people can't handle that, but she's been handling that until now. Over 30 years, almost 40 years. For this long period of time, she's handling all the phones and messages, and she has huge stress. This time when I went to Guam, and the leader of the Complete Enlightenment chapter there, we were there only about 3 days. One day at the governor's house, and the other one was a press conference, and then the next day is the ceremony and the Dharma teaching at the chapter. So about 3 days. But the chapter leader asked about 400 questions to Simu. So at first she was handling those questions, but then later on some things was not right. So the questions were like, for the press conference, who would attend the press conference? Please tell me. And then Simu said, so whoever, right? Whoever that will attend. How would I know? Do I have to ask? So that's an impossible question. And then, should we charge for the press conference like $7 per person? And Simu said, what? Do you charge for the press conference? Then no one would go. So there are lots of minute questions. So do we need to put down red carpet for Grandmaster to walk on? Do we need to ask the Miss Guam to welcome Grandmaster? Do we need a police car to guide us? Do we need 4 undercover to protect Grandmaster? All those questions, about 400 of them. And finally, Simu couldn't handle that anymore. Just the questions from one person. And how about the rest? So finally she decided, because she can't have it anymore, she decided not to go to Guam, so I went by myself. But I often said, doesn't matter what, the sun will rise. Doesn't matter, the sun will set. And that would be one day. And it's easy for 3 days. 3 days. And you ask 400 questions. Oh my God. If that's for me, I would throw the cell phone. So she's too tired. Good thing that I don't care for those things. There's a Chinese saying that when the boat reached the shore, it would naturally stop. And then Simu said that when Grandmaster arrives, everything will be taken care of. And really, nothing to worry about. So, as a spiritual cultivator, there's no need to think too much of anything. It's nothing, and I don't care. Because every day the sun will rise, and every day the sun will set. And then we live our lives day by day. So what is it there to worry about? If you're supposed to die, you will die. When you're not supposed to die, you will not die, even if you want to die. So you live your day like that. You eat and sleep and be happy. So I hope that all my disciples would learn to be happy every single day and no need to be worried and afflicted. And because the Great Perfection Dharma was transmitted by Guru Padmasambhava, so Panchen, one of the Panchen's Dharma name is Lotus Self-Mastery. And he wrote a verse of the Great Perfection Dharma, relying on the 9 teachings of the Great Perfection, Sravaka, Buddhasawa, and sages. Oh gosh. So the Father Tantra and Mother Tantra, the highest Tantra, are non-dual. It's a verse written by Panchen. Sorry, I missed most of it. So the 9 stages of Great Perfection include Sravakahood, Prateka Buddhahood, and Bodhisattvahood. So the 3 vehicles of Mahayana Buddhism. And this is the vehicles related to the causes. So the seeds or the causes, that's in Mahayana, and the results or the effect is in Tantrayana. And then talking about the Charya Yoga, Kriya Yoga, and Yogacara, Yoga Tantra. And then the Mahayoga is talking about the Father Tantra, and Anu-yoga as the Mother Tantra that belongs to the wisdom. And the Ati-yoga is the non-dual. So it's neither Father Tantra nor Mother Tantra, and combined together is the Great Perfection. And this is considered the inner Tantra. So Mahayoga, Anuyoga, and Ati-yoga are considered the 3 inner tantra, and the 3 outer tantra is the Kriya Yoga, Jaya Yoga, and Yoga Tantra. So to practice great perfection Dharma, first you have to practice the Mahayana Buddhism. In Sravaka Buddhahood, Sravakahood, that's in the 4 sagely realms, in the 4 noble truths. So at first Sakyamuni Buddha taught about the 4 noble truths, and then in the Prateka Buddhahood, the Dharma is following the 12 Ling of the causes and conditions. So if you can be awakened to that, you are called the Prateka Buddha. And Shravaka is about the 4, is related to the, based on the 4 noble truths to practice. And when you reach Bodhisattvahood, then you practice the 6 paramitas. So as you know in your practice, so in the so this is considered the Tantrayana. At the start you make offering to the Yidam, so after you make offering to the Buddha, then you pray for the empowerment of the deity. That's in the Charya Tantra. So that's in Charya Tantra. Offering is in the Kriya Tantra. These are just the key points. And then when you're in the Yoga Tantra, the cultivator and the Yidam are equal. So say like when I was visualizing Guru Padmasambhava as the Yidam, he is not only abiding in space, the deity that I serve, but he also entered into my body and I became Guru Padmasambhava. And at this time, the cultivator is the same as the Yidam. And this would be considered the stage of the Yoga Tantra, which means a spiritual response. And then next, when you enter into Mahayoga in the inner Tantra, that the Yidam is in union with yourself, merging together. Your body, speech, and mind merge with the Yidam's body, speech, and mind. And this is the key point in the spiritual cultivation at this stage. When you reach Anuyoga, it involves the practice of the Chi, channels, and light drop. And there would be bliss, the great bliss, when the Chi is moving in the channel or the inner fire moving in the central channel, or when the light drops are dripping, there would be bliss being experienced. And then talking about the clear light, there would be clear light generated. From bliss, there would be clear light. And the third key point is emptiness, empty nature. And then the Buddha nature would appear. When you reach Ati-yoga, you open the 5 chakras. Then you have the true understanding of your mind and seeing the Buddha nature. You see your own Buddha nature. So you're understanding the ultimate truth, and then you also see the Buddha nature. At this time, your self-nature is the Buddha, and it originally was the Buddha. So the self-nature that was originally the Buddha nature was discovered. So these are the key points of the 5th instructions of the 9 stages of Great Perfection Dharma. And I expounded in a very short time. So in Sravaka stage, it's about the 4 noble truths. The Pratyeka Buddha, about the 12 Ling of causes and conditions. The key points in Bodhisattvahood is the 6 paramitas to apply the 6 perfections. And in the Kriya Tantra is in making offerings to the yidam. In the Charya Yoga, it's you pray for the blessings from the yidam for purity, for purification. That's the key point in Charya Tantra. And in Yoga Tantra, is you have merged with the yidam and you are equal. That's the key point in Yoga Tantra. In Mahayoga, you're already in complete union with the yidam. That's Mahayoga. And then Anu Yoga, you practice the great bliss, clear light, and empty nature. When you reach Anu Yoga, you would be able to see the radiance of your Buddha nature. You have true understanding of the mind, and you can apply or execute your own Buddha nature, and your self nature is the Buddha. That's Ati Yoga. That's the cultivation method of the 9 stages of Great Perfection Dharma. And some people said, if you practice great perfection starting from Sravaka all the way to Anu Yoga, it cannot be completed in one lifetime. That would be difficult. But spiritual cultivators from the ancient time, they combine both Mahayana and Tantrayana. So in Sravakahood, they stress great importance on precepts, and actually in each stage the precepts are very important. So that's the 9 stages of the Great Perfection Dharma, the key points that I have expounded this once before, the differences of the different stage. And the key differences and the key fruition or attainments. Now let me talk about the part that I wrote on the Great Perfection Dharma. Last week at the Rainbow Temple, I mentioned that the last radiance, the last empowerment of Great Perfection Dharma is the empowerment of the great clear light radiance. That's most important, because ultimately when you have attainment, the whole sky would be filled with the sound of the drums, and the sound of the drums contain Dharma power, and this would tremor the heaven and earth. So when you have the attainment, when you reach Buddhahood, there would be such signs that even the wilted branches would sprout, and all the flowers would bloom, and the fruits would be born, and they all would be filled with fragrance. And this symbolized the attainment of the great perfection, and the beings would receive blessings, and they have Dharma to practice, and relying on this Dharma practice, they would be able to attain Buddhahood. When someone has this attainment, all the Buddhas would appear in space above. All the Buddhas would appear. At that time, when all the Buddhas appear, you would be able to merge with all the Buddhas. So as if the Buddhas are confirming that you have attained Buddhahood in this body, in this lifetime. And all the Dakinis would appear in space above. All the Buddha mothers would appear. And also they confirm you that you have reached the ultimate awakening, realization. And the sounds are very resounding. And they all merge with the great drum. So the sign of you merging with all the Buddhas would appear. So sometimes you say that, hey, I have gained enlightenment, but do you have such signs? Like all the Dakinis would appear and tell you that you have been enlightened. You need to practice until all the formless Bodhisattvas and Buddha mothers and Buddha fathers to confirm you that you have gained enlightenment. Like Sakyamuni Buddha, when he did his enlightenment is about the 8 right path, and he had the intangible sign, which is the opening of the earth, and the pagoda of the many jewel Tathagata appeared to confirm that Sakyamuni Buddha had attained Buddhahood, that now you are Sakyamuni Buddha. So the many jewel Buddha confirmed him. And this Buddha invited Sakyamuni Buddha to enter into the many jewel pagoda, and he shifted to the side and to let Sakyamuni Buddha sit next to him on the Dharma throne. So that to confirm, many jewel Buddha confirmed Sakyamuni Buddha had attained Buddhahood and let him sit on the Dharma throne next to him. And also the other Buddha appeared and offered many precious items to him. So the confirmation is not that the certificate that Grandmaster wrote. That's the confirmation with form. So like this time in Guam, I received 3 awards. One was given by the Congress from Washington, D.C. They awarded a special recognition to Living Buddha Lien Seng Seng Yen Lu for his contribution to the humanity, to society. So from the Congresswoman, all the Congressperson, the senators need to sign and approve on this award. And you can, and it would be in the records forever, in history, and you can check the number in Congress, and it would be there. So this award is very important. It's recorded in Congress. So it's award by the House and Congress, Senate and the representatives. And the second is the award from Guam, which is the High Achievement Award, that you have lots of contributions to Guam, to people of Guam. So it's to prove that you have attained this highest achievement, and they granted this award to me. And the third award was the Governor's Award. It's the award personally given by the governor. So you have become the honorable citizen of Guam, that now you're part of Guam. So you're the honorary citizen of the big family of Guam. So that's the third award. And the most important award, so these are awards with forms or tangible awards, but you need the intangible award from the space above, that Buddhas and Bodhisattvas appeared. Like when I said Pasang Samaya, or Guru Rinpoche, or Guru Padmasambhava, and he descended upon my body. And this award is the award from Guru Padmasambhava to confirm that you have yogic response with the yidam, that you can merge with the yidam. So you need to have this kind of award, and only this is truthful, is real. And you know for sure that Guru Padmasambhava had descended and entered into your body and merged with you. And this is an intangible form award. So there's some tangible ones and some intangible ones. So don't be too happy when you receive tangible awards, because sometimes it can be bought. So you can get it by paying money. Whatever award you want, sometimes if you donate some money, you would obtain an honorary a degree or title from a university. So if you take the honorary out, then you become a PhD. And a lot of people receive it that way. They never graduated from elementary school, but they received that honorary doctorate degree from a university in the US. Why? Because they helped the university build lots of buildings. So you can have it by paying money. If Grandmaster says, like if I want to get an honorary doctorate degree, if you donate enough money to the university, then they would give you, and you can wear the cap and the gown. That in Taiwan, there are 2 monks that received the honorary doctorate degrees. I don't want to mention the names. One of them donated a row of buildings, a row of classrooms, and the other one was a huge hall. So they received the honorary doctorate degree from a university in California. But Grandmaster never paid any money to get any awards, because our True Buddhist school is the school of the poor. So we don't have much money. How could we buy anything? How could we buy an award? So we don't even have enough money to provide reliefs for disasters around the world. I'm not saying that the honorary degree is bad, because it's a good thing to build classrooms or a hall for a university. So if they have money, they can do it. But we don't have money. We can only have the intangible honorary degree. It is hard for Americans to study Chinese. So this joke, I believe that Miss Hanifa, the translator, would not be able to translate this joke. Maybe you have heard of this joke before. It's about money coming and going. The Westerner is studying Chinese, and during the exam, the question is meaning about. It is really difficult to explain this 意思. So, Xiaomin give some bribe or some money to the official. They have a very meaningful dialogue, and the official asks, "So what do you mean by doing this?" There's no big deal, no meaning at all. So what do you mean? And this is really hard to translate. When the foreigner read this, they don't know what it means, so they just, so this 意思, this meaning actually also mean a lot of other things. So in the Great Perfection Dharma, when you receive the intangible confirmation, it cannot be seen, it cannot be understood by others, but you yourself would know. You would be really clear about it. Do you have yogic response or spiritual response? You are clear yourself. You would know. There's no need for you to ask Grandmaster. You yourself should know for sure if you have any spiritual response or yogic response or not. It would be clear in your own heart. It's difficult to talk about. Akui asked the doctor, "Doctor, is there a good way to lose weight?" And the doctor said, "So turn your head from left to right and from right to left and back and forth. That's the way." And Akui said, "When do you do this?" And the doctor said, "When someone is inviting you for dinner, then you should do that." So losing weight, you need a will power. No sugar, no calories, and no oil, no grease, no fats. Then naturally you would lose weight. You have to stay on the willpower. Otherwise, you would become fat, like a dinosaur woman. So with willpower, you would lose weight. Like Grandmaster has willpower. Every day, I would do push-ups 200 times. Every day. And every day I would do sit-ups to train the muscles on the abdomen until I sweat every day. And then I do the fist exercise, like last night, Tai Chi Chuan, Tai Chi, or the Tan Si Chuan, Sanso, different kind of exercises every day. So I memorize the stances. Then it would become a Tai Chi dance. And dancing is also a kind of exercise. And Simu taught line dance. In Taiwan, she taught the dance group. And someone lost 7 kilograms in a short period of time. So line dance can let you lose weight. If you don't normally exercise and then you train rigorously, you would lose weight. So exercise is one way, but most importantly is about eating. A lot of people, they cannot say no to delicious food. So they take in sugar, oil, and carbs. And you eat lots of this, then of course you become a dinosaur man and dinosaur woman, and also dinosaur officials. Of course, if you are a dinosaur of man or woman, then you have changed your form. You would be unfit, so you need to maintain the fitness of your body. So you need to control yourself. You need to eat nutritious food, but not too much calorie, not too much sugar or fats. So it has to be balanced. Like in our spiritual cultivation, it's simple. You cultivate with control. You don't want to overdo it. I often say, if it is over, then it would break. If it is too loose, then you become lazy. So Sakyamuni Buddha said it really well. In our Buddhist study, it should be just right, like when we're adjusting the strings of the lute instruments. Like when you play on the guzheng or pipa, the Chinese lute instruments, or guitar, you need to adjust the strings just right. Then the sound would be most beautiful. If it's too tight, it would break. If it is too loose, then it would be too loose, lazy. It's the same with the human being. If you're too uptight, you're too tight, then you're too anxious. And if you're too loose, then you would be depressed. So in spiritual cultivation, we have to adjust it just right. You need to know which stage is most appropriate for you. If you like to practice bodhisattvahood, then you practice bodhisattva. If you like to make offerings, then you do the practice of the Kriya Yoga. If you like merging, union, then you do the Yoga Tantra. If you want to attain Buddhahood in this lifetime, then you practice Ati Yoga. So you find what is most appropriate for you and you select that. The same with your yidam. Which yidam you feel best at and you feel most connected, then you do that practice, then that would be fine. Grandmaster has conferred hundreds of empowerments on each Dharma, and you practice each of them, that would be impossible. So you only choose one or two and focus on your practice. Generally speaking, the letters written from jails would be inspected first. So letters from the prisoners would be inspected first, and the prisoner receive a letter from his wife. Dear, when do I start to plant potatoes? Oh, peanuts. In Taiwanese, actually, it means peanuts. Okay, peanuts. And the prisoner knows that the wife is not doing well. She needs to till the soil and plant the peanuts. So the prisoner replied, you have to remember that don't dig in the backyard because there are guns buried in there. I forgot the exact location. So he hid a lot of guns inside the ground of the backyard. And a few days later, the wife wrote a letter. All of a sudden, there are a lot of inspectors and police come to the house, FBI's. And they dig the whole backyard. And then the prisoner replied, now you can start planting your peanuts. So this prisoner was really smart, right? The prisoner was really smart. It's the same in our Buddhist studies. You need to be able to catch the key points. That's how smart you should be. You should be able to comprehend Grandmaster's key points, and you need to worry about the rest. I published a new book called, what is the latest book? Open the door of the treasure chest. See? I forgot the title of my own book. Why? Because I wrote too many books. This is how smart I am. I don't need to remember the titles of my books. I can just ask you. In that book, there are lots of pith instructions. If you buy that book and read it, there are a lot of key points and pith instructions of many, many Dharma in there. The pith instructions are all in this book. From the key points, the important key points of my spiritual cultivation is in this book, So if you can catch the key points, you don't need to dig the ground. Like when you want to plant the peanuts, you don't need to work so hard to till the soil. So if you read this book, then you would understand a lot of the fifth instructions. That's the key points, the key formulas. So like just now, I explained the key points of the 9 stages of the Great Perfection Dharma. One is about the 4 noble truths, the 12 links of causes and conditions, and the 6 paramitas. They are all fifth instructions, very important. And then offering practices for the Kriya Yoga, for the Charya Yoga is for the blessings or empowerments, and Yoga Tantra is for the spiritual response, and Mahayoga, merging or union, and Anu Yoga is about bliss, clear light, and emptiness. Great bliss, clear light radiance, and empty nature. And Ati Yoga is about Ming Xing, Jian Xing, true understanding of the mind and seeing the Buddha nature. That's the key points, the most important key points. Those are fifth instructions. If you are smart, then you can catch on the key points and you would have success in your spiritual cultivation. A woman saw the policeman scolding her husband, and then told the police, "Except me, there's no other person." Oh, she saw the policeman scolding her husband, and she said that nobody can scold her husband except her. This is a joke. And there's another joke. There's an author in France called Thomas. And in Russia, traveling in Russia, and he decided to go to the biggest bookshop in the city there. And the owner of the bookshop was very happy and tried his best to let Tuma be happy. And he filled his bookshelf with the works of Tuma, of this author. And when Tuma entered into the bookshop and found that the shop is filled with his books, he was really shocked. And the author asked, "How about the books from other authors?" And the shop owner said, And he was in panic and finally said, "Oh, they're all sold out." So this is creating problems. You're too smart for yourself, kind of. And then at the end, you're problematic. Actually, he wanted to make the author happy, but at the end, he said that all the other books are sold, and except his books. So in spiritual cultivation, you cannot outsmart yourself too like that. You need to be earnest and conscientious in your spiritual practice. Like the other day at the Rainbow Temple, I recited the High King Kuan Yin Sutra really fast. But then this is not earnest. so that in the recitation you at least have to remember the last 3 words. Then only this way you would be really earnest and focused. If you're not focused, you're distracted, then that's not really so. Like when I make offering, I lift up the plate, and then I would invoke the deities and the Buddhas, and then they would accept the offering because I do them with earnesty. If you do it unthoughtfully, then you don't know if they come, they may not come. But if you're really focused and thoughtful and mindful, then you would receive the response. So every time you recite, you need to recite the epithet of the Buddha, and at least the last 3 syllables that would be imprinted on your heart. Like Fa Wang Ho, the Flower King Buddha. So the 6 Buddhas of the 6 direction. 烟花王佛，6方6佛名号。尊音王佛 from the east. 然后苏根花王佛。Now I forget. Because I recited in Taiwanese. So if I need to think in the Mandarin Chinese. So when you recite, say, 无量诸佛, or innumerable jewel Buddha, or many jewels Buddha, Sakyamuni Buddha, Maitreya Buddha, Akshoba Buddha, Amitabha Buddha. So Amitabha, the same as Mitofo. So each of this epithet has to flow through your heart. Only this you would be called earnest or sincere or mindful. Otherwise, you would be very flippant or so a lawyer just had a surgery and just awake from the sedation. He opened his eyes and said, "You're so beautiful," and then he fell asleep. And the wife never heard him said that before, and she stayed all by his side. And in a moment, in a while, he opened his eyes again and said, "Oh, you have a strong character." And the wife, a little bit disappointed, "How come now you don't say I'm beautiful?" And the husband replied, "Oh, because the sedation has passed." So talking about pith instructions, or like just catching the tricks, you know, it's different. So you truly understanding the pith instructions or just using the tricks are different. So you all need full concentration. Say the same in reciting the Hiking Sutra, that every single word has to be imprinted in your mind. So then this would be a true mindfulness, not just using the trick. So say 1,000 recitation of the Hiking Kuan Yin Sutra, sometimes it's very fast. So if you recite it from beginning to end, then it would flow very smoothly. But if you stop in the middle, so if you just say, sometimes you would forget how to continue. But if you start from beginning to end, you would remember. And then if you just pick from the middle, and then what's next, then all of a sudden you forget. So that's why you have to be more earnest. I can do better with Taiwanese and not in Chinese because all the sutra recitation I do in Taiwanese. So now maybe you would understand what is applying the pith instruction and just using the tricks. So although you have the pith instructions, you need to put earnesty and mindfulness into it, and you need to practice them with mindfulness. Then you would have attained. Very grateful to His Holiness Precious Buddha Dharma teachings.